Welcome back to the sessions 4 for the configuration settings. Here we will configure default settings in a Move Survey Code Pro. As you can see, we are in the home page. Once I click on this left side 3 horizontal line, here we have a configurations. As you can see here, we have a name. So once I'll click on this name, here we can see our whole details regarding the details. Designations, country, city, standalone modes. You can activate your license as well. Again, if I click on this 3 horizontal line, we have a dashboard. So once I click on this dashboard, I can see in a June month how many surveys done. You can select the dashboard, analytics, line chart, bar chart, pie chart, donut pie chart, polar area chart. Again, once I'll click on this 3 horizontal line, we have export to Excel. So once I'll click on this export to Excel, we can take a backup for all the survey. If you are changing old device to new device, you can take export to Excel as a backup. Here we have an import from Excel. So if you are changing the device in new device, you can import that Excel file in your new device. We have here MIS report. Once I'll click on this MIS report, how many survey is done. So you can see here and you can export to Excel as well. Once I'll go, we have Google Drive backup. We can take a Google Drive backup. Here you can watch the training video as well. Now we have default settings like article configuration. If you want to add some new articles in these settings, you can add it. For example, I want to add fan, volume, 2.5 CFT. If you want to select the packing type, if you want to select, it will populate on which service, and you can click on this add icon. So this item default is added in this list. If you want to search, you can search from here. As you can see, 2.5 CFT fan is added here. Once I'll go back, here we have an additional service. As we mentioned, additional service also you can configure. So once you go to the additional service, here you can write it. Additional service, parking charges. General, or you can select each service type also you can configure and click on this plus icon. Packing charges is added. Again, if I'll click on this, here we have a goods type. If any goods type we need to add, we can add it here. Personal effect. Personal goods. And we can click on this goods type. So personal goods is also added. Now same, we have a packing type. Any packing materials we need to add, we can add here. Bubble wrap. We can click on this add icon. So bubble wrap is added. The same packing materials, if we wanted to create, we can create a packing materials based on the volume. So automatically it will material projections, you can do it from this applications. Same with manpower, handyman, vehicles type, pets type, room, you can create a new room, hall area. Click on this add icon. In this room, if you want to add some items, you can click on this arrow icon and you can add this item as well. Now again, if I'll go back here, currency settings you can do, tax configurations, costing profile. So if we wanted to create a costing profile, we can click on this plus icon and here we can select if handyman service, for additional service and for transportations we can add here. Then here we can type the activities name, just example transportations. Here we can set up the minimum amount as well. So minimum amount will be 2,500. Service type, it will populate only for the door-to-door export service. So we can select, it will populate all the service, we will not select any service type. So it will configure as a general. Now it is populating only for the road shipment. So if we can select only the road. For the shipment type also we can select, if it's truckload only, then these charges will be populated. So we can specify truckload. Even for the packing type, Now once it is there, we can is multiply per unit, it will multiply. So yes, and here we can select the numbers or unit like per kilometer, per miles, and we can click on this add options. So once I'll click on this, it is already there. Charges for road. So I'll add. So the item is added in the list. So here we can configure the costing profile. As you can see here in the master grid, transportation charges for road, it is reflecting here. If we wanted to update any information, we can update it. Now here we can configure our quotation templates, how to configure the templates. So simply here we can click on this. For the domestic move, for the door-to-door, you can specify different templates. You can select your cover letter, you can type the title, and here you can write it. Thank you for your business. We can click on this save. Same way here we can mention our term and conditions based on the service type. Conditions for domestic. So here we can write our inclusion and exclusion. We can copy paste as well. And we can click on this save. Now once we will go to the mail templates for sending email, we can configure our mail template. This is text editor. You can edit it. Now here we have a configurations. Once we will go to the configurations, here we can configure our letterhead and footers. So I'll show you how you can configure your letterheads. So I'll remove this one. I'll click on it. I'll select my letterhead. If you want to crop, you can click on yes. If you don't want to crop, automatically it should adjust. Click on this no. So automatically it is adjusting. Left, right, center, you can align. Same way you can configure footer and you can align. Now which email it should go with that customer summary, then you can mention that email. Now here you can select the CFT or CBM volume. Here you can select weight by default, which should reflect feet, centimeter or inches. Default transport mode, air, road and sea. Same default packing type. Default room. Item sort, how you can do that room A to Z or article A to Z or both, you can select as. So I selected default. Article adding page, room wise or single articles. PDF size, A4 or A series. Insurance label, if you want to mention insurance label in different, you can rename here. Then branch address you can mention here. Survey prefix, quotations prefix by default you can set up. For example, it should start QMT. It should start QMT. Then here you can select the density. In the customer summary, if you want to show customer can see CBM and CFT. So both, so you can select both. If you want to show only customer can view CBM volume, then you can select only CBM. Same survey summary, if you want customer can see, your crew members can see CBM or CFT. So you can select, if they want to see both volume, they can click on this both. Same way for the weight, same way for the survey summary weight. Mail attachment limit you can set up at the 5 MB or 20 MB. If you want to change the background color of the PDF, you can click on this and you can select the background color and select. So all the PDF background color will be reflecting as a blue color. Now here, if you wanted to include anything, include inflate or deflate volume, you can include it. If old summary, if you want to show, you can enable. If no articles, if you want to show, in the summary, there is no article you want to show, then you can enable. But I wanted to show the articles, so that's why I disable this one. Single camera captured, if you want to enable, you can enable. Show remarks in customer summary. If you want to show the remarks in the customer summary, you can enable or you can hide. So surveyor details in the summary, hide surveyed article summary. So if you want to hide, you can enable. Once default settings is done, you can click on this top save icon. Thank you all for watching this.